So my name is Mark Jordan, and I'm a wildlife biologist here at Seattle University. And my research is in urban ecology and urban wildlife management. And we're looking at two things in particular in the natural areas in South and West Seattle. One thing we're doing is using non-invasive monitoring methods to observe different wildlife species and see which species are inhabiting the parks we're in. So we've got camera traps as well as hair snares to capture animals that come to baited stations in a variety of different parks. And then what we can do is look at habitat conditions and conditions around each park, the size of the park, how close a park is to another park, and see if that has any relationship to which wildlife species we find in it. The other thing I'm doing related to that is we're collecting hair samples from all of the species that we capture at these stations, and we're using the DNA in the hair to look at how related different animals are between different parks. And we're focusing on raccoons and opossums because they're relatively easy to catch. We have quite a few of them here in Seattle, and they tend to move relatively well through urban landscapes. The bigger picture then is to really identify how connected ecologically are Seattle's parks to each other, and what does that say about the other parts of Seattle, the residential, the industrial areas of Seattle. How effective are they in allowing Seattle to function as a fully functioning ecosystem? When you think about environmental justice and the type of work I do, you notice that a lot of the people who are most engaged in parks and natural areas are from a relatively narrow demographic group. They tend to be older, whiter, more affluent. But in the parts of the city where I'm working, particularly in Southeast Seattle, we have communities from all over the world. And so there are a lot of people who simply are not as engaged with the communities and the parks right around them. And I think that one of the important environmental justice missions for people who are interested in urban park systems is to find ways to reach out and understand what diverse communities want out of their parks and natural areas. And our natural areas are an amazing asset, and Seattle has a great array of parks spread throughout the city. And if we can find ways to engage all of the communities who live in Seattle with caring for and stewarding for their parks, I think that that is going to be of benefit to the city as a whole. And so that's where I see environmental justice overlapping with the type of work I do in the parks.